Hello, AP English students, AP English Language and Composition students. Mr. Francavella here, lesson 14. We're covering the topic of parallelism. All right, what is parallelism? It is repetition. Repetition of what? It's repetition of three possibilities. The same idea repeated, the same structure or type of grammatical unit repeated, the same word repeated. All right, so it can be any one of those three, it can be any combination of those three. So you could have the same idea and the same structure, like you could have a certain type of phrase and the same idea in those phrases, or just the same type of phrase, prepositional phrase, prepositional. In parallelism, those repetitions need to be somewhat near each other, right? And so they wouldn't be parallelism if they're very, very far apart from each other in an essay. And there's only like one repetition. Usually parallelism, usually you'll have three, but you could have only two, but three is more common or more. Why? Why is it used? A lot of times it's for emphasis, to accentuate something, to highlight something, to increase some clarity of something, to increase the intensity of an emotional response for the reader. It would happen in speech. In speeches that are given, there'll be a lot of parallelism, so that the audience can catch the ideas more clearly. But also parallelism is composed in speeches or writing in order to be more elegant. And there's often a lot of balance with this repetition. Sounds prettier. In this case, this is the Port Huron statement. Sometimes it's called, written by Tom Hayden in around early 60s in Lakeport, Michigan. This was his first draft. And then he rewrote it with parallelism. This is not using parallelism. It's not good also because there's a lot of abstractions, all right? And so it's hard to grasp. So he rewrote it using more concrete diction, word choices, and parallelism. So let's look. You can read that. Every generation inherits from the past a set of problems and a dominant set of insights and perspectives by which the problems are to be understood and hopefully managed. We do have problems repeated, but it's nothing good in the way of parallelism. It's not very elegant. Okay. So he wrote this. He was from the University of Michigan. He wrote this with some other University of Michigan graduate students. And it was to start the Students for a Democratic Society, SDS, which did get off the ground after this manifesto was written. We are people of this generation, bred in at least modest comfort, housed now in universities, looking uncomfortably to the world we inherit. What constitutes the parallelism? It is the same. It isn't the exact same word repeated. It's what? The structural unit, the grammatical type repeats. Bred, housed, looking. What are all three? They're all participles. What is this? Past participle, present participle. Are we not parallel because we changed from past to present? No, we still have the same type of modifier. So subject verb, but then we have participial phrase, and then we have past and then another present participial phrase. So all participial phrases. That's parallel. And it's more beautiful, and it breaks the whole idea into parts so that we can understand it in smaller segments. That's helpful. And he did use more concrete words, all right? World, university, generation. So now in your chapter 6 text, and you're going to have a little worksheet to go around along with this text, we're going to continue doing this comparing, contrasting. All right. So Henry David Thoreau, a devotee of, follower of Ralph Waldo Emerson, transcendental philosopher, wrote, "Why should we live with such hurry and waste of life? When the parallelism isn't extreme, as it isn't here, you might not notice it as parallelism. We should live, subject, verb, phrase, but now we can see there is some parallelism with such hurry and waste of life. With, it's our preposition. Here's an object of the preposition. Here's an object of the preposition. The objects are multiplied, or we have a repetition of objects of this preposition, and they're just single nouns. Okay? So that's parallel. Let's look at it written in a not parallel way. So, why should we live with such hurry and to waste life? Someone changed, we have the first preposition relating back to this object of the preposition, relating back to this preposition. But now, instead of just having another noun, another object, we have a whole new prepositional phrase. So, we have a whole new infinitive phrase, to waste. So we might have parallelism if the exact same word repeated or the same idea, but we have two phrases, but that's not enough to constitute parallelism. We have a prepositional phrase and an infinitive phrase. It's not parallel. And it's very awkward to have this to here just one time. Let's look at another example. Okay. Sorry to... Okay. Sorry it's taking me so long to get me to the next document. This is more difficult because there is no zeitgeist to read, no template, no mask to wear. I don't know if that's the one I want to contrast. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So here's what I want to contrast. So here's the bad example. Here's the bad example. And I'll go back to the good example after. It has truly been said that never in history have a lot of people who are well educated devoted their attention to such a small number of children. It has truly been said that never in history have a lot of people who are well educated devoted their attention to such a small number of children. People devoted attention. There's just a lot of words like modifying each of these main elements of the sentence. All right? But now let's look at how this is recrafted with parallelism. So give me a second. Okay, so here we are. Nope, a little further down. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's right up here. Here's the parallel version. It has truly been said that never in history have so many educated people devoted so much attention to so few children. We have so, which clues us into the repetition, and each so is followed by a modifier. Many, much, few. So each of these precede the main element, one of the three main elements of the clause. People devoted attention, right? Well, actually two of the main elements, people, attention, are preceded by so plus a modifier, and then they add the same sort of thing in the object of the preposition. But we can see that they want to highlight these three elements in the sentence, and they put a modifier and so in front. So it makes it parallel. It highlights, puts a little spotlight on each of the three, and it's kind of elegant. Okay. So let's look at an example that we have to fix. I don't want that. No, that's not it. Well, okay. We'll just use that then. We'll look at that. So here at the bottom is an element. It's in a document that I sent you on Edmodo. Okay, I don't know if you can see that too well. Something that's not parallel and parallel, well, same sort of situation. We'll look at the good one. In the home repair course, we learned how to rewire lamps, fix leaky faucets, and caulk windows. We have infinitives beginning, all right? We have the two only once. Then we have the verb. It's a verbal, but the verb part of the verbal. Rewire, fix, caulk. And we have the object of the infinitive. To rewire lamps, to fix leaky faucets, caulk windows. So we have three infinitives, just two and one. One of them, it begins with two, but they're still all infinitives. That's parallel. And here, what's not parallel? In the home repair course, we learned to rewire lamps, fixing leaky faucets, and how to caulk. So this was added in, and it's not necessary, the how. And instead of to, an infinitive, we have a verbal that's not an infinitive, the ing, whether it's a gerund or a participle. So we have three different things. It makes it very awkward. And finally, I'd prefer flying home to see my parents rather than talking to them on the telephone. I'd prefer flying home to see my parents rather than talking to them on the telephone. Flying home, talking to them. So we have participle, right? And we have two, but it's not the same sort of grammatical construction. One's a preposition and one's an infinitive. But we do have these participles. So there is parallelism. I prefer to fly home to see my parents rather than talking. Here I have an infinitive and a present participle. So I don't keep the parallelism. Here I have the same present participle, so I have the parallelism. All right, so hopefully that will help you read the rest of the chapter and you can do your exercises more easily. Thank you.